Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another trade recap. Going to be going over today's recap. I actually didn't end up taking anything today because I didn't really feel there was a good setup to take, but I will be going over today's price action. I'll be explaining what I was thinking going through market open. So coming into today overall, I was leaning pretty bearish on the higher time frame. Reason being was because we were obviously displacing lower here, delivering from sell side or delivering from buy side in the higher time frame here, and we have a pretty good objective coming into the morning, being the monthly fair value gap unfilled below us here, which is in a discount of this range. Well, not even in a discount, just overall a lot more discounted than this premium for monthly fair value gap, which we have marked out here, right? And this was met with, hold on, let me mark it up properly. Oopsies. Right here, cool. So this was like my objective coming into today. Overall, I was looking at this hourly gap that we had above here, but then I was sort of looking at ES, and I was like, there is kind of a potential that we might not go to there. Reason being is simply because if we wanted to look at ES, it's going on to the 15-minute ES here, we actually had an SMT inside of a 4-hour fair value gap, as you can see right here. With London session highs, we had an SMT inside of a 4-hour fair value gap with inside of this range, which was definitely a good manipulation and a really solid SMT. So I wasn't really expecting too much manipulation on market open, and yeah, sort of going from there. I would have likened a short down to this super obvious sell side, but unfortunately enough, that did not happen. So let's get into market open and see what market open does. So market open ends up opening higher here into this 5-minute fair value gap, or into nothing. So there's no 5-minute fair value gap here. Market just ends up wicking higher here inside this range, and right after this we just aggressively dump right towards my DOL, which is pretty unfortunate. It is what it is, a London session liquidity, and then we have this monthly gap. So I was looking for a trade to this monthly gap, but as you can see, we do end up hitting that monthly gap, unfortunately enough, with no really valid entry at all and no retrace. So my final draw on liquidity was kind of done for the day. At this point already, I was sort of thinking like, I don't really want to trade today because we are inside of a monthly gap. I don't even want to predict when we're going to try retrace out of this gap, because it is a huge gap and a big range. So there's not even a point in me trying to predict when we're going to reverse, because who cares about that shit. And then we end up actually getting a pretty decent count. I think it was right here, which I think Blake did take, and I do like this count. Reason being is simply because of the S&P 500 and where that was at the time. During this time, we were edging a major sell side pull on the S&P 500, being previous day low and the previous day low before that as well. Or no, just previous day low in general, which is also, well, that's wrong. Anyway, I guess it was previous day low, but yes, previous day low right here and London session lows right here. At this time, this was 950. If we want to look at 950, we can see that we were edging this major sell side down here. So there was definitely reason for us to still go lower and still go deeper into this monthly fair value gap. We end up retracing to a 5-minute gap here, which is a super discounted 5-minute gap. So not really a huge fan of this, especially since NASDAQ already took all the draws. Definitely not a fan of this. I think this is very hasty, but if you did have confidence in this, well, then that is 100% fine. But we end up coming into this 5-minute fair value gap, we end up closing this 5-minute candle, and then we end up getting a 5-minute rejection block right here, and we end up rejecting off of this 5-minute rejection block, and then we end up sending prices lower right here. And I think Blake did actually, which is my mentor who taught me how to trade, did end up taking like a CISD on the 30-second time frame, somewhere within this range. Solid trade overall. Don't really agree with it. Not my cup of tea. Definitely wouldn't be taking something like this, but it is pretty good. It's solid enough, but it's not great, right? It's really not great. Super discounted 5-minute gap, and you're just targeting high resistance, and the only way you could have justified this whatsoever is simply to the S&P 500, but the S&P 500 actually doesn't even end up taking that draw on liquidity at all. So overall, this trade was kind of just luck, in my opinion. Super lucky trade. You really did get away with it here, in my opinion. You low-key, anybody that did take anything here probably should have lost, especially what was coming up at their stop loss being a 50-minute fair value gap, which would make a lot more sense for us to retrace into here, which is when we end up edging this 15-minute fair value gap right here, which is super unfortunate, and we get a brilliant displacing candle right here. But the S&P 500 actually ended up leaving equal highs to the tick with this 15-minute fair value gap, which is super unfortunate, because I definitely would have been liking to take this setup because of the narrative on ES, and we end up actually flushing to take profit here on this trade. So I was looking for us to come inside this 15-minute fair value gap, which we had opened, which was right here, resting right above this high at 950. but we ended up edging it on both assets, which is super unfortunate. I would have loved to take a trade here towards sell side. I think this was very obvious from the S&P 500, especially when we actually had a retrace into the range here on the 15-minute time frame with a 10 a.m. PO3 as well. As you can see, 10 a.m. opens higher here, adds to the liquidity pool, and then we just edge that 50-minute for value gap, unfortunately, and I could not justify an entry from there, because I've seen lots of times where we do edge for value gaps and get displacing candles for us to then re-manipulate that and take me out to then deliver to my draw. And so obviously that's just from journaling, and this stuff happens way less than usual, but it does happen sometimes, so you can't be mad about that. It is what it is. The markets do what they want. And yeah, that's going to be it for today's recap, guys. Honestly, everything else from here, pure shit in my opinion. Pure shite, to be honest. Pure poo. And we're inside this monthly gap. Taking any longs from here is kind of silly, because why are you taking a 5-minute inversion off of a monthly gap? That's a bit hasty in my opinion. But hey, if you did take it, fair enough. If you had conviction, cool, that's fine. But especially when ES was edging major sell side, and I was definitely still more bearish with ES edging that previous day low in London session liquidity, whatever it was, and I also expected us to definitely come in more deeper into this monthly fair value gap. Taking a 5-minute inversion off of a monthly candle, in my opinion, is actually quite stupid, but okay, it's fine. If you did take it, I understand the conviction that you might have had, but yeah, overall I do think the trade of the day was probably this original, like 30-second CISD, blah blah blah. I don't even have the 30-second chart because I don't really pay attention to the 30-second, because I think it's not that great to pay attention to, but sometimes it can be good. But unfortunately I actually don't have the 30-second chart. But this was a pretty good draw, especially we had the 5-minute rejection, not a draw but set up mechanically, I guess. We had the 5-minute rejection block, we had the 5-minute for a value gap, yada yada yada. It was pretty good, but again, way too discounted for me, and everything else was pretty poor in my opinion. The 5-minute inversion, yeah, like this close is terrible. I don't know why you're taking a 5-minute inversion off of a monthly gap. Like, that's kind of crazy. But I guess if you did predict the for us to retrace to the 15-minute for value gap, then I guess that is 100% fair. But yeah, definitely not for me. So nothing today was ready for me. No trade day, pretty simple. And yeah, except for that, I will catch you guys in the next video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If you have any questions for me personally, I'll have my Discord, Instagram, and TikTok plugged in the bio of this video. You guys can feel free to go and check them out and shoot me a DM on any one of those platforms, and I will 100% respond. And yeah, I hope you guys have a blessed rest of your evening, or day, night, whatever it may be, and hopefully we get some better price action than this for the rest of the week. And yeah, except for that, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.